Back now on Newsmax Prime, famed investigator and the guy known as One Tough Cop, Bo Dietl, has a beef with the Ford Motor Company, and he's taking that company to court. Dietl is filing a motion accusing the automaker of defaming and lying about former law enforcement officials, including former FBI agents and ex-New York City police officers. This as Bo's investigation may reveal the automaker engaged in some questionable dealings. For more, let's welcome in Lanny Davis, one of my favorite lawyers. He's affiliated with Lanny J. Davis and Associates. He's the attorney for Bo Dietl, and of course, as we recall, he served as the former special counsel to President Bill Clinton. Lanny, tonight from Newsmax, New York, thanks for your time. And how did this all start with Bo Dietl and Ford?
Well, we're both involved in helping a company called Versata, which had a software product that saved Ford over $1 billion over about a 15-year time period, which we allege in a lawsuit Ford stole rather than to continue to pay for. And Bo Dietl was retained to investigate to show that the theft occurred as part of the litigation. And in the course of that investigation, talked to ex-Ford employees. Ford, to try to stop that investigation, and didn't realize that Bo Dietl doesn't take lies and insults about his professionals, former decorated law enforcement officials, lightly, allowed affidavits to be submitted alleging that these former law enforcement officials committed trespass, acted like goons, and other lies that were quite defamatory. But you can't sue in defamation because of immunity given to lawyers or court papers. So what Bo Dietl and the investigators asked me to do to represent them and file a motion in the federal district court in Detroit, asking the judge for a hearing so that these decorated former law enforcement officials can testify that what Ford did was to lie about them in quite a scurrilous fashion, and those papers sit on the internet like a ticking time bomb. So what Ford has shown, once again, I've said this before, that it's willing to do anything, including being complicit, if not encouraging, false affidavits lying about these law enforcement officials, and I'm representing Bo Dietl and those officials. Well,
you know, it's interesting.
It's to strike this from the record.
It's interesting, Lanny, because history records that Bo once upon a time ran for Congress as a Republican. So it's interesting to see this kind of relationship, but I know it's nonpartisan when it comes to the realm of legal representation.
We're the odd couple.
let me let you put on your partisan hat for a second. With the time that remains, we want to take a listen to what your friend Hillary Clinton had to say in response to Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy's comments about the Select Committee on Benghazi. Listen to this.
There have been 7 investigations led mostly by Republicans in the Congress, and they were nonpartisan, and they reached conclusions that, first of all, I and nobody did anything wrong, but there were changes we could make. This committee was set up, as they have admitted, for the purpose of making a partisan political issue.
Now, Lanny, you may have on your partisan hat, but as an officer of the court, isn't there more to this than just politics and partisanship?
Well, there really isn't if you're talking about Trey Gowdy's committee. Remember, we had 2 Republican committees, and you served honorably in the Congress, J.D. One, the Armed Services Committee, led by Republicans, and the House Intelligence Committee that conducted extensive investigations in Benghazi, and as Secretary Clinton just said, found no wrongdoing, no intelligence manipulation, no political manipulation, all the charges that were investigated thoroughly by 2 Republican committees, as well as the other 8 investigations. And Mr. Gowdy has done absolutely nothing for over a year, despite Mrs. Clinton's asking to testify, but he waits until just 3 months before the Iowa caucus to allow her to testify. So when Kevin McCarthy said, well, this is great because we got the email story out and her poll numbers have gone south, he was actually telling the truth as to what Mr. Gowdy's been up to, because otherwise he'd be arguing with Republican committees on their findings of no wrongdoing.
Now, it's very interesting, Lanny, and I can appreciate partisan differences, but in all sincerity, seems to me Trey Gowdy is trying to bring a business-like, thorough approach to, well, he's a prosecutor. He's an attorney who tries to dot every I and cross every T. You really believe this is all political timing, 100% political?
The answer is 100% yes, because of the way he's conducted himself. I'm not judging the man, I'm just judging his actions. He's conducted this for over a year. He had a deposition of Sidney Blumenthal for 8 hours. The word Benghazi came up twice in 8 hours. Blumenthal asked for the transcript to be published. He refused. Then he called the chief of staff to the secretary to be deposed. She asked for her transcript to be disclosed. Then he waits for a full year to call Hillary Clinton as a witness, but he waits to just before the Iowa caucuses. And finally, he's never explained what is he investigating if two Republican committees, the House, I'll repeat for you, JD, because you know how important these committees are, the House Armed Services and the Intelligence Committee, for over a year investigated Benghazi and reached conclusions. Now, what is Mr. Gowdy going to do any different unless he's ready to criticize the chairman and the members of those committees, and he hasn't been willing to do that.
Forgive me, Lanny, but it seems you want to get this down to just one little statement. Like in a previous situation, it was, quote, just about sex, and you're trying to say here it's all about politics. We'll see. Lanny Davis, thanks so much for your time tonight from Newsmax, New York. Still to come, the U.S. abandons a failed and expensive plan to train Syrian rebel fighters. General Michael Hayden, former director of Central Intelligence and the National Security Agency, not to mention being a retired Air Force general, well, Mike Hayden will be here. He'll discuss that and more as Newsmax Prime continues.